Commander James Sterling adjusted his formal military attire as he strode through the crystalline corridors of the Celestial Palace on Lamia Prime. The black and silver accents of his uniform reflected the ethereal glow emanating from the translucent walls, creating an otherworldly ambience. Behind him, his trusted bodyguard and confidant, Marcus Reed, kept a vigilant watch, his stealth armor glinting ominously under the soft luminescence. "You know, Mark," James murmured under his breath, "when they said this diplomatic mission would be challenging, I didn't anticipate it being quite this interesting." Marcus smirked subtly. "Well, sir, arranging an interspecies marriage to prevent a galactic war isn't exactly standard protocol." As they approached the grand audience chamber, their footsteps echoed against the polished crystal floor. High-ranking Lumerian officials, their silvery, iridescent skin shimmering under the ambient light, lined the path to the throne. At its center sat Princess Ariana Starlight, her flowing white hair capturing and refracting every beam of light in the room. James had seen images of the princess before, but they failed to do justice to her ethereal beauty. Her vivid blue eyes widened slightly as they met his, and he noticed a faint blush warming her porcelain-like skin. "Commander Sterling," the royal herald announced, his voice resonating through the chamber. James advanced with deliberate steps, his disciplined military posture evident. Stopping at the prescribed distance, he executed a formal bow. "Your Highness, I bring greetings from Earth, and an unusual proposal." "Rise, Commander." Ariana's voice was melodic, yet beneath its softness lay an undeniable strength. "We are aware of the escalating tensions between our peoples. What proposal does Earth offer?" Straightening, James met her gaze. "Your Highness, in light of the rising hostilities and the very real threat of war, the Terran Alliance proposes a solution that has served humanity well throughout history." He paused, noting the way the princess leaned forward slightly, an intrigued expression on her face. "A diplomatic marriage between yourself and me." The chamber erupted into murmurs. Ariana's eyes widened further, and for a moment James thought she might refuse outright. Instead, an enigmatic expression crossed her face. "Was that relief? You're taking me as your wife?" "Really?" The sincerity in her voice momentarily broke the formal atmosphere. James maintained his composure, though a slight smile played at his lips. "Yes, Your Highness, if you're willing, of course. This union would serve as a bridge between our peoples, proving that humans and Lumerians can not only coexist, but thrive together." Behind him, Marcus shifted slightly, likely struggling to suppress his amusement at the absurdity of the situation. A human commander proposing marriage to an alien princess in front of her entire court was hardly an everyday occurrence. Yet Ariana's reaction suggested she was not entirely opposed to the idea. "Commander Sterling," she said, her tone now tinged with warmth, "such a proposal requires careful consideration. Would you join me in my private gardens to discuss the details?" The High Chancellor, an elderly Lumerian with streaks of silver in his hair, stepped forward. "Your Highness, protocol dictates." "Protocol," Ariana interrupted smoothly, "also dictates that matters of royal marriage be discussed in an appropriate setting. The gardens are traditional for such conversations. Are they not, Chancellor?" James observed the exchange with interest. The princess clearly had a knack for political maneuvering, and something in her demeanor suggested she was not merely being diplomatic. There was genuine curiosity, perhaps even willingness, in her gaze. "Of course," she added, glancing at Marcus. "Your guards may accompany us. Shall we, Commander?" As they walked through the palace's radiant corridors, James couldn't shake the feeling that this engagement was going to be far more complex and far more personal than he had anticipated. The shimmering gardens awaited, pulsing with bioluminescent flowers that seemed to echo the quickening heartbeat of a princess who might just be as intrigued by him as he was by her. Their energies had synchronized. Ariana placed her hand over James's chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heart beneath her palm. "From this moment forward," she murmured, "I will always feel your presence, your emotions, and you'll sense mine." As if to prove her words, the space between them shimmered with a soft golden light. A wave of warmth washed over James. Ariana's affection, her lingering desire wrapping around him like a comforting embrace. He exhaled in wonder as his own emotions manifested as deep blue patterns that intertwined with her golden glow. "That's incredible," he breathed, watching the luminous strands weave together like living art. Ariana smiled, mischief dancing in her violet eyes. "Part of the reason the council wanted us to take more time," she admitted. "They wanted to ensure we understood the magnitude of this bond before it was formed." Her gaze softened. "But James, I've studied you for so long. I already knew." He pulled her close, marveling at how natural, how right it felt to hold her, to feel their energies harmonizing. "No regrets?" he asked, his lips barely brushing hers. "None," she whispered. A gentle chime resonated through the chamber. The High Council was approaching. Ariana stepped back, but their energies remained intertwined, casting intricate patterns in the air between them. "Ready to face them?" James straightened his shoulders. "Together," she replied, taking his hand. Where their fingers met, sparks of light danced and flickered. The massive crystal doors swung open, revealing the High Chancellor and several council members. Their expressions shifted from stern authority to astonishment as they took in the swirling energies filling the chamber. "By the first light," the Chancellor murmured, "this is unprecedented. The chamber has never responded this way before." An elder stepped forward, her ancient eyes wide with wonder. "Legends speak of such a connection, two souls perfectly matched across all dimensions. But to witness it..." Another council member turned to Ariana. "Your Highness, you understand what this means?" Ariana's voice was steady, resolute. "The traditional waiting period, the formal ceremonies, they're no longer necessary." The glow of their bond pulsed in time with her words. "The chamber itself has recognized our union. Even you cannot deny what you see." James felt a swell of pride to their connection. Pride and something deeper, more profound. His love for her transcended mere emotion. It was written in light, inscribed upon the very fabric of space around them. "Commander Sterling," the Chancellor addressed him formally, "it seems we owe you an apology. We feared a human might not be capable of achieving true resonance with one of our own." His gaze flickered over the dazzling display. "Clearly we were wrong." "Perhaps," James said diplomatically, "this is exactly why our peoples need to come together. There's so much we can learn from one another." The chamber pulsed in agreement, the shifting patterns of energy seeming to tell a story of two species forging a future together. The Chancellor's expression turned serious. "There is one more matter." He paused, his gaze settling on their interwoven energies. "The physical compatibility you've demonstrated opens possibilities we had never considered viable." Ariana's grip on James's hand tightened. Light cascaded between them in rippling silver waves. "You mean children?" The elder council member nodded solemnly. "Our scientists long believed human and Lumian genetics were incompatible, but this level of resonance suggests otherwise." James felt Ariana's hope, her nervous excitement mirrored in his own heart. Around them, the chamber responded, their luminous energies forming intricate helixes, patterns resembling DNA strands, yet infused with something new, something unprecedented. "The strength of a human," the Chancellor mused, "combined with Lumian energy manipulation, such offspring could bridge our worlds in ways we never imagined. If it's even possible," James said cautiously, though Ariana's anticipation pulsed through their bond. "Oh, it is possible," the elder said, a knowing smile gracing her lips. "Your energies have already begun adapting. The chambers don't lie." Ariana's free hand drifted to her midsection. There, at the very core of their connection, a faint shimmer of blue and gold pulsed. "Not yet," the elder assured them, "but the potential is undeniable. Your bodies are preparing for the possibility." The revelation sent waves of emotion through their bond. James pulled Ariana closer, marveling at how their shared future seemed to be inscribing itself in light around them. "The public ceremony should be held soon," the Chancellor declared, "before your resonance patterns become visible to everyone. While beautiful, they might prove distracting during formal functions." James chuckled, watching the sparks of energy dance between him and Ariana. "You mean this isn't exactly subtle?" Ariana smirked. "Consider it a side effect of perfect compatibility." Her fingers toyed with the collar of his formal attire, though we should probably learn to control it before the diplomatic reception tonight. The council members withdrew, leaving them alone once more. As the great crystal doors closed, Ariana turned to face James fully. "Are you overwhelmed?" she asked softly. "This is all happening rather fast, even by human standards." James traced a glowing path along her cheek, watching as light followed his touch. "I've spent my life believing in the possibility of true harmony between our peoples. Finding it personally with you, it feels right." Their energies swirled together, forming a luminous cocoon around them. As they shared another kiss, their bond deepened, their resonance growing stronger, an undeniable force of nature, bridging two worlds in a way that no one, not even the council, could have foreseen. Ariana's laughter sent ripples of silver light cascading through the chamber. "We should practice controlling this," she teased, her hands slipping beneath the folds of his attire. "Unless, of course, you want to announce our intimacy to the entire diplomatic corps through interpretive light displays." James grinned, pulling her flush against him as golden and blue light intertwined once more. "Now, where's the fun and control?" The next few weeks passed in a blur of preparation and anticipation. The entire palace seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the arrival of the prophesied child. James divided his time between diplomatic duties and caring for Ariana, whose energy now filled entire rooms with swirling lights. When the time finally came, it was nothing like they had expected. The birth chamber, prepared with both human medical equipment and Lumian energy crystals, became a nexus of pure power. Ariana's labor sent waves of light rippling through the palace, while James remained her anchor, his human strength grounding the overwhelming energy. Almost there, the medical team encouraged as another contraction peaked. The energies are aligning perfectly. James held Ariana's hand, their combined power forming a protective cocoon around them. Her skin blazed like a supernova, and their child's energy joined theirs in a final surge of creation. Then, with a cry that sent shockwaves of light to the crystal walls, their son entered the world. The moment he took his first breath, every crystal in the palace lit up in perfect harmony, acknowledging the arrival of a being unlike any before. "He's perfect," James breathed, gazing at their newborn. The boy had his father's strong features and light brown hair, but his skin bore a faint luminescence, and his eyes, when they finally opened, held an incredible shade of blue that seemed to contain entire galaxies. "Lian," Ariana whispered, her fingers brushing against their son's cheek. Where their skin met, sparks of light danced between them. "His name is Lian." James repeated the name, feeling the undeniable rightness of it. "Lian, Lightbringer." The baby gurgled softly, tiny sparks of gold and silver swirling around his fingers. Already, he displayed signs of both human strength and Lumian energy manipulation, his very existence proving that their peoples were destined to unite. News of Lian's birth spread rapidly, igniting celebrations across both realms. The prophecies had spoken true. Their child was a bridge between worlds, living testimony that love could transcend any boundary. As they lay together later that night, watching their son sleep in a cradle of pure light, James marveled at how far they had come since their first meeting. He turned to Ariana, a smirk playing on his lips. "Remember when you asked, 'You're taking me as your wife?' Really, with such surprise?" Ariana laughed softly, her laughter creating ripples of light around them. "How could I forget? Though I think the real surprise was how perfectly everything turned out." James raised an eyebrow, recalling the challenges they had faced and the opposition they had overcome. "Perfect." She nodded, pulling him down for a kiss that sent shimmering waves of light through the chamber. "Because it led us here, to this moment, to our son." Lian stirred in his sleep, his tiny form pulsing with combined human and Lumian energy. He was their miracle, their bridge between realms, the embodiment of their love. "The prophecies speak of the changes he'll bring," Ariana murmured, her gaze fixed on their son. "But I think his greatest achievement has already happened." James looked at her, intrigued. "Oh, and what's that?" She smiled, her eyes shining with certainty. "He's proven that love knows no boundaries, that when two hearts truly resonate, anything is possible." James gathered his family close, feeling their energies merge and dance around them. The crystal walls of their chamber reflected their joy, their love, and their future, bright with promise and possibility. "And this," he whispered, watching as her son's dreams created shifting patterns of light above his cradle. "This is just the beginning of our greatest adventure,